So, um, it's it's this proves that transparency is important and never you shouldn't always jump the gun. It's okay to theorize. It's okay to try to put things together and figure things out. You're not supposed to just take anyone's word for anything. You should always demand proof. Paul Pelosi's the body cam footage from when the police arrived at Paul Pelosi's home finally was released. Um, Personally, I had made comments and I made some false assumptions because I didn't have all the information, and I poked fun at this man's home being broken into, made other innuendos and assertions, and I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I actually reviewed the body cam footage, the home surveillance footage, and it basically means that what I was assuming happened didn't happen that way. So I'll be a big enough person to say I was wrong. What some of the things that stood out to me was, a lot of people were saying, okay, maybe he was a prostitute that was hired, or he called a drug dealer in the middle of the night. Okay, I would have went with that narrative and I would have stuck with it. However, if Paul Pelosi had invited the man in, they had an exchange, then he kicked the guy out, then the guy gets upset and wants to break back into the house, then I can say, okay, that makes sense that maybe he knew the guy and it was a person that he had hired for whatever reason and he was disgruntled. But they showed the home surveillance footage of this guy using a hammer and busting the window and actually breaking into the property. Now, out of how many millions of people live in San Francisco, and how did he get into this community? How did he bypass, because I know they must have security somewhere in that area. And why did he choose that house? Matter of fact, how did he get to the back door of that house, or why? We don't know. But when I'm listening to the police phone call, Paul Pelosi literally played it the way I would have played it. I assumed that he knew the guy, and in the video, you can hear him ask the guy his name. So it's not like Pelosi was familiar with the guy, and then the police asked him, and then he he already knew the name. He had to ask the person the name, and then the person literally did say he was there for his wife, which I said I didn't believe that at first. So I was wrong about that as well. Watching the video and listening to the tape, people keep forgetting Pelosi's an 80-something-year-old man. The guy who broke into his house is a big ass man, half his age. So people are saying, well, why didn't he's holding a drink in one hand, his pants are off, and he's holding the hammer in the other hand. But you can hear the guy on the phone. For some reason, this guy let Pelosi call the police. Why? Also, he was there for a minimum at least a half an hour before police came. A man his size and a man versus a man Pelosi's age, he could have killed him. He could have killed him when he first got there. He could have killed him instantly. So was he even there for that? Was he there for Paul, or was he There's no way he was looking to break into the house with no guns and all he had was a hammer to try to kill the person who's third in line to the presidency, knowing that there's going to be security, Capitol Police. He didn't do that. So why was he there? Those are questions we don't know. But apparently, just listening to Mr. Pelosi's voice, you can tell he really was confused and he didn't know the guy. And the guy said, you're leading right now, because you're on the phone with the police, but you're leading them into thinking that I'm here, and you're leading them to think that there's a problem. So now I want you to hang up. And he's talking to the police. He's like, okay, well, he's telling me I shouldn't. So basically, it seems like he allowed Pelosi to call the police, but it seems like what I would have done. I would have tried to just play it cool, play it nice. I'd have said, oh, you mind if I make a drink while you're waiting for my wife? Do you want something? And maybe he let them know, I'm going to try to call my wife, but I'm going to call her security detail that might know where she is. Now I'm not going to keep making assumptions, and then I could be wrong about that. I'm just going off of the tape. He called 911, but it didn't seem like he wanted him to know that he was calling for police to come there. It seemed like he pretended he was calling maybe her security detail, And that's why he was asking, is Capitol Police available? Are they there? But then when he started to say that you're leading, that means that he didn't want him calling the police, and then he forced Pelosi to get off the phone. And Pelosi, like I said, he's 82 years old. He literally tried to play it cool. Now, when the police arrive, Pelosi opens the door and steps back. But I don't know. It didn't appear to me as if he was stepping back to protect the guy. It just seems like he opens the door. There's lights in his face. He's having a drink. But, people want to play in like, oh, maybe he was just really drunk. But I'm thinking if he's there for half an hour with a crazy person who's bigger than him, younger than him, who has a knife, who literally broke the fuck in. It's not like I said, people were saying, okay, maybe it was a drug deal going wrong. His son, the guy who broke in, his son said, well, maybe it was a sex slave. Okay, he didn't know his name. Also, if he was a sex slave, when was the last time somebody bought drugs and the drug dealer broke in through your back door by smashing in your window? And where the fuck is their security system? Nothing goes off. You can just literally bust the doors down of living U.S. Government officials. Like, that's crazy to me. And they do have footage of him break. For me, when we first seen the footage of the break-in, the glass was on the outside. So we were all like, it looks like the glass was broken from the inside going out. But we were wrong about that too, because you see him smashing in the glass, and I guess the hammer he used, he pulls some of the glass out. That just goes to show anything can happen. Not everything you see can happen the way you might assume it can happen. It can be different things, and you really do need to get your eyes on some footage. You need to hear the tone of someone's voice. You need to hear the questions, and you could hear the pep in the background on the video kind of coaching him on what to say. And he was just playing it cool, like, yeah, he's here for my wife. So he was saying that the guy doesn't know him. It's not like the guy came there, knew him, but was saying, well, you owe me some money, or I've been your sex slave for a month. I want to blow the whistle and meet your wife or talk to your wife. It sounds like he's a creep, but why would a Democrat, crazy left-wing BLM, LGBT, LMNO, why would a guy like that be looking to attack Pelosi? Why? How would he know where her house is? Why was he there? That's the real question. And I wonder why they haven't interviewed that man while he's in jail. Like, no outlets are interested in getting an interview. People get interviewed while they're in prison all the time. Shit, I see more about Tory Lanez and Megan the fucking Stallion than I did about the person who's third in line to be the president in the case of a disaster. If something goes wrong and, the vice president and the president fall, she would be the next person in line, the Speaker of the House at the time. She's no longer the Speaker. But it doesn't make any sense to me that there was no security and that this guy just broke in there randomly asking for her. How the fuck did he know where she lives? Like that's like, for me, that's a crazy, that's the kind of questions that I want to ask, as in, why did he choose? How did he know that house? And how did he know to come when she's not there? Out of all the days that he could have came and popped up there, how did he know to go there when she's not there? I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in luck. But, I mean, there's no way he could have got that fucking lucky. And how did he get to the backyard? It's not like, I can see if he broke into the front, or he came to the front door, they got into an argument, he left, and he's pissed and he wants to break back in because he was locked out. But that wasn't the case. That's not what the footage shows. And then the police get there immediately. Why haven't they drawn out tasers or guns? Why aren't they telling him to drop the weapon? They're talking to him like they're familiar with Pelosi having friends over, and they're like, oh, we don't want to do this. What are you guys doing? It's like there's literally someone holding a weapon. Then they ask him to drop the hammer, and he says, no. And then you see this big ass dude go like this, and it goes out of frame from the cameras. And then you hear Pelosi snoring. I mean, I'm talking about it sounded like he was getting the best sleep of his fucking life, but he was snoring, knocked out. And you seen this big guy who's way bigger than him swing a hammer at him. We were wrong. A lot of us were wrong about that. And it was, like I said, the fact that they fired a reporter who literally told the truth, that it verbatim turns out that it is exactly the way that man laid out. Pelosi answered the door in his underwear, but the guy was there. But why didn't Pelosi, when he opened the door, rush out to the police? Is it because he's older and he's not as quick? he was afraid the guy was going to still grab him, or if he didn't, or maybe he thought they were with him. I don't know. It's hard for me to speculate, but that's a good question. Why did he not open the door, run out, and say, "Hey, this guy broke into my house. I don't know why he's here. He's looking for my wife." But then again, he's 82 years old. He might be drunk. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's a. It seems like he's a social drinker. I mean, he just got a DUI a few months ago, and apparently he was with another young man. So he doesn't like to drink alone. So I wouldn't see him just sitting in the house getting drunk by himself and somebody just randomly breaks in. But maybe he made a couple of drinks while he's waiting and talking to this man who might just, who knows this guy's reasons, but no one's talking to him, you know? And if he gets, and if he gets if he gets Epsteined while he's in there, yeah, you're right, Sneaker. At 82 years old, you're not running anywhere and you're probably scared as fuck. Like, I'm like listening to the video, it literally hurt my heart. I'm listening to the 911 call and I'm thinking like, fuck, I literally was poking fun at this when there was a man, literally a person, he was doing the best he could to keep this stranger who just broke into his house with a hammer asking about his wife at bay. He didn't alert it. He wasn't being too fishy. He wasn't trying to say too much on the phone. He was just playing like, oh yeah, I don't know what's going on, but there's a guy here. He said he's a friend. So he didn't say, this is my friend. He said, there's someone here and he's saying he's a friend of ours. What the fuck else was he supposed to say? There's somebody with a hammer to your head. Somebody that literally, he could have just laid on Pelosi and smothered him. Pelosi wouldn't have been able to push him off. He's frail. He's 82 years old. So he's literally playing it smooth. Like, I'll be honest. In my opinion, he's lucky to be alive because all it would have took is 10, 15 seconds at any interval of that 30-minute interaction, and he could have just killed the man. But he allowed him to get on the phone and make a phone call pretending that he was looking for his wife. So, I mean, that's a big deal, and that does say a lot. So that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about that. Once more details are readily available about this person's, when they talked to DePep to ask why he was there, how he chose the house, how he knew how to get there. How did he drive there? Did they have to tow his car away? Like, how did he even get there? There's so many questions unanswered that we need to know so we can make an accurate assessment of the situation. So, but anyway, I was wrong about that. I wanted to say that. And, I'm a big enough person to admit that, in certain situations when you find out you're wrong, but you were also poking fun at it, it's not right. So that's why I just wanted to come on here. So anyway, I'll be back on in another 2 hours to go over the war in Ukraine. And just to ask people, say there was an AI that happened to take over the world. Would you be surprised that it was an AI literally coordinating every major country on earth, bringing their weapons to the Ukraine so that they can be dismantled by the Russians? Like, it would make, I don't know. We'll talk about it shortly. I'll be back on. Thank you.